All right. Welcome to the Real Estate Blog Podcast, where we ask our guests the hard questions by taking a deep dive in how they built their teams, their marketing strategies, and systems and processes on how they spit deals out. All right, let me start that over. Welcome to the Real Estate Blog Podcast, where we ask our guests the hard questions by taking a deep dive in how they built their teams, marketing strategies, systems and processes, and on how they built a machine that spits out consistent deals month after month. Well, the value given during the show will help you create and find consistent real estate deals. Today, I have my good buddy, Michael. What's up, dude?
Hey, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
No, dude, I couldn't, like I said, I know you're super busy, family man, run his own business as well. Dude, tell us who you are. What were you doing prior to real estate? And why the heck did you get in this world of real estate?
So my name's Michael Franke. I'm from the Kansas City market. Years ago, I went to college, got a degree for teaching. So I taught math to ninth graders. Believe it or not, that's a lot harder than buying deals at 50 cents on the dollar. But I taught for 3 years, and I loved teaching. It just didn't seem like a sustainable thing for me. I had to work very, very hard to make 40 grand a year, and I just didn't see myself doing that for a career. So I was kind of the HGTV nerd, watching Property Brothers and things like that. Always wanted to flip a house. So during one summer break from school, I asked my folks, it's like, can we buy a cheap house and flip it? I'll do all the work, and you guys don't have to do anything. You just have to fund it, and we'll split the profits 50-50. So I spent that whole summer figuring out, how to do tile, how to hang lights and paint and all that stuff. So it took me about 3 months to finish the deal, and we made a short 20 on it, and I split it with them and made 10 grand. It wasn't a ton, but it was about the same amount that I was making in teaching. I was like, I could do this and not have to teach anymore, and I could be my own boss.
Mm-hmm.
And we just did a few more deals, and the rest is history. We never stopped.
Awesome. Now you said that was with your family.
Yeah, we actually have a
How old were you?
family-owned business.
Nice. How old were you when you got your first deal?
How old was I? It was 8 years ago, so I would have been 26.
Okay. Now we can do the math on how old you are now, huh? Yeah. No, that's awesome, brother. Okay, so what really captured your eye was HDTV, huh?
Yeah, I just loved what they did. I loved the renovations. I loved the before and after, and I just really wanted to try one, and really enjoyed the process, and saw that it was possible to run your own business and control your own time. And that was one aspect of teaching I did not enjoy, that I had to be somewhere every day from a certain period of time. And I wanted to do something where I could control my own time.
How long did it take you to find your first deal, and how did you find it?
So I would say we were looking for one for maybe 3 or 4 months. My goal was kind of right after Christmas break that year with teaching. I really wanted to flip a house. So I started looking with the goal of buying something right after school got out. And I actually found the deal. It was on Hubzu. It's an auction website. Used to be way more popular than it is now. But put an offer in on this house. We paid too much for it, but I didn't know what I was doing. Bought the house for $83,000, and so I would say it took 3 or 4 months to find something, and then we got started.
Gotcha. What market are you in?
I'm in Kansas City.
Okay, gotcha. And that's a pretty solid market out there.
Yeah, it does well for us.
Okay. So you're a teacher over some fantastic third graders. You wanted to get into real estate, flipping houses. You do your first deal with you and your family. When was the day that you decided to stop being a teacher? Was it after your first deal, second deal? What did that look like?
So I decided that I didn't want to work at the school that I was at the time. Did some more interviews. Probably did 8 or 9 interviews, and for whatever reason, just wasn't landing a job. I don't know why. But there came a point where I left that 9th interview. I'm just like, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just going to go find some more houses. So I cashed out my retirement that I had from 3 years of teaching, and that gave us about, 6 or 8 months of living expenses. And I just decided to bet on myself, and it worked out, fortunately.
No, that's incredible. And were you married at the time?
I was. I
What did
was.
your wife
She
think?
was a little nervous, but my wife has always been really supportive over all my crazy dreams. So very appreciative of that.
Wait, was your first crazy dream to teach the third graders?
I'm not sure if that was my dream or if that was, the powers that be that wanted me to go to college and go that path. But I learned a lot, from teaching. You learn the empathy piece with all the kids, and that enabled me to
100%.
be, a very solid salesman in the living room now. So I wouldn't change it. Learned a lot.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I would love to even and when we get to the team aspect, if that even if that helped you. Uh,
No, for sure.
okay, let me ask you this, Michael. So you do that. So you do that first deal. You make 20 grand. So it looks like you bought it somewhat right. What broke you through the doing 1 to 2 deals here and there to consistent real estate deals?
So that first year, I believe we only did 3 deals. I did all the work myself. I think by the third or fourth deal, I probably brought in a couple of other people that were helping me with the work. But I was there every day. I was slinging the hammer. I was doing everything. I was going to Home Depot 7 times a day. It just wasn't sustainable because you'd
Right.
finish that project. Hopefully, you'd make some money. But then when you sold it, you were unemployed again because you didn't have another
Hmm.
house to go to. So
Yeah.
the switch in my mind happened after that third or fourth one, to where it's like I really need to be in the business of finding the deals and then finding some other people to do the work for me. So we had gotten together 3 or 4 people that were on a crew for us that they would go house to house. We were still extremely slow, but enabled me
Hmm.
to start hunting for the deals and not as much swinging the hammer.
Gotcha. Okay. So you get this crew. What did it look like there? Was it still just 3 deals a month? I mean, sorry, a year. I mean,
That first year
obviously
we
we.
only did 3. I wanna say the next year we only did 7,
Okay,
but every year we just did more and more, to
for
where
sure.
today I'm doing a little north of 150 deals a year. But
Love it.
it's been a growing process. We didn't get there overnight. It was just learning and getting 1% better a day, and that's what's led us to get here.
Well, that's incredible, man. That's the big question. So you said it led you to where you're at now. I mean, tell me some of those early struggles because I know we kind of went in and now you do your specialty is the pre-foreclosures, and again we could talk about that here shortly. But then you started flipping. Are you doing wholesaling as well? I mean, what is the percentage of you wholesaling, retail, flipping right now?
Honestly, well, right now is a completely different story. At the beginning, I didn't even know what a wholesale was. At the very
For sure.
beginning, I had no idea that there was, you could buy a house off market. I thought you had to go through a real estate agent. And if I could say one big pain that I had in the first 2 years is that I was relying on the same agent to bring us deals. So
Mm,
she would inflate the ARV, she would deflate the repairs, and we probably had a string of 4 or 5 houses to where we didn't make any money. We were basically
mm,
breaking even. And at that time, I was kind of running out of money from that retirement
yeah.
account that I had talked about before. And I really needed this house to close. We were scheduled to make probably around 25 grand on it. I got a call from the appraiser. It came back about 25 grand low. And I realized that I wasn't going to make any money on this deal. And it flat out broke me. I've told this story a lot
Yeah.
of times on, my social media channels, but
Yeah.
I was working on that house. I just went to the side of the house and I just flat out cried. I was so broken.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to provide. So I kind of pouted and, felt sorry for myself for about an hour. And then something just switched inside my brain. It's like, this is really not acceptable. I'm not going to rely on other people to find deals. I have to be the person that provides for my family. We're not going to
Yeah.
be, that family that lives month to month. That's not going to happen. So I went on a mission to find, our truly first really profitable deal. We'd never made more than about 20 grand that first
Okay.
couple years on deals. Um, so I was driving around, funny enough, the neighborhood that I currently live in, saw a for sale by owner sign, gave it a call. And talked to them and they were like, yeah, this is what we want for the house, which I thought surely they said it wrong. There's no way that they wanted that little for the house. So I locked up that house. It was an easy renovation. We ended up making about 60 grand on the deal. So I went from having a couple $100 in my account to 60 grand in my account. And it just opened Pandora's box to what was possible. And that's really what lit the fire to, really start growing the business, because I finally knew it was possible.
Yeah, and that definitely rings true for guys in the business doing consistent deals. I mean, every month is not a rock solid month, right? We got those months where you're just like, oh man, what's going to happen this month, right? And then you're back against the wall, and you get back on the phones, or you go find another deal. And I think that's a beautiful thing about this business is, you could go find another deal. Now, obviously, that's something too, is when you have those months where you don't know if you're going to get revenue that upcoming month. The cool thing is I always tell me and my family and myself, well, I guess me and my wife, but our knowledge has been so much more vast than if we started. I always say, if we had to start all over, it doesn't even matter. If we started to start all over, we know how to start the business from ground zero and go find a bunch of deals right now, But no, that's really cool. That's a cool story. And I definitely encourage people to go check it out on your Instagram, because obviously we've all been there, and you're definitely successful now. But I mean, they don't see those things that do happen. So, okay, so you get this 60K ripper. Did you just keep flipping, or when did you find wholesaling? When was wholesaling the thing that said, hey, this is what I need to start doing as well?
At that point, I still did not know what a wholesale deal was. The first deal that I ended up wholesaling, I found also on that Hubzu site. It was in a little lake town called Lake Lotawana here in Kansas City. And I knew it was a deal, but it was one of those subdivisions where the comps were all over the place. I had no idea what it was actually worth. It just made me really nervous to flip it. So we ended up buying it, and we bought it for, I want to say, right around 90 grand. I just put it on Craigslist. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put it on there for like 145. There's no way anyone's going to buy it, but I'm just nervous about this renovation. So a gentleman reached out. He's actually one of my good friends now, good mentor. And he was like, if I offered 145 and I paid cash and I bought it in a week, would that work? And I said, yeah. So actually this was a wholesale. It wasn't a wholesale. But so I called up the title company. We got all the contracts together, and I was like, is this really going to happen? Like, I didn't believe that it was that easy to make money still. So he ended up closing. The money hit my account, and I was like, wow, this opens up a whole new thing to where I don't have to renovate the house. I can actually just buy it, sell it as is, and make money that way. But the actual first true wholesale, I had gotten a brother had listed a property on Craigslist, and I had messaged him about it. I met him over there. I signed the purchase agreement. Again, it was a massive rehab. We were not equipped to do this rehab. So I sent it out to a few different buyers that I'd gotten in contact with, and they were like, yeah, we could pay you about 35 grand north of what you paid for it. So I contacted that same title company. I was like, look, we don't really have the funds to buy this time. We're a little tight. Is there a way that I can, I got this contract. Is there any way that I could sell it to these guys over here? And they're like, oh yeah, it's an assignment. So I learned what an assignment was, and I just learned by doing. I had no idea what I was doing. I took one step at a time, and that's what a lot of us have to do in real estate. We're afraid to take action. We just want to, watch all the programs and the courses and the YouTube videos. And we see it conceptually there, but we don't actually take the action. And so that's how I learned. That was before all the YouTube stuff and the courses. Out there stuff and made it happen.
No, that's incredible. I mean, you hear it all the time, right? Take massive imperfect action, and and don't get me wrong, it can be incredibly scary. And yes, it can still bite you in the butt. But it's just like that Jim Rohn clip that I think that we see a lot, right? Everything's risky, right? Sure. Starting a business is risky. Getting married is risky. Having kids is risky. Nobody's getting out alive, right? And I mean, what a great clip. Um, okay, Michael. So you start to find out assignment fees. You start getting consistent deals. Now let's fast forward to where you're at now. What does your team look like now?
So right now we're a team of 7. It's myself. I have my father works on all the finances. My mom is kind of a rover that deals with a lot of our scopes of work and marketing and things like that. I have a TC that keeps me sane. Without her, we would be a mess. I have 3 acquisitions guys. Um, that's our team's pretty small.
For sure. So I mean, that's pretty incredible. 3 acquisition guys to do 150 deals a year.
Mhm.
Are you just marketing and doing deals in your own backyard?
Yeah, we're just in Kansas City. I've never ventured out.
Wow. And why not?
I've always felt like you could just go so much deeper in one market. I
Hmm.
see a lot of these guys that, they get started and they have 4 or 5 virtual markets, which is great. But I've started from doing 3 years or 3 deals a year to this year, we may hit upwards of 175 deals. And I feel like we're nowhere close to our potential here.
Incredible.
So I just want to keep, diving into Kansas City. It keeps making us more money. So just want to get better at our systems and processes and see what the limits are.
That's incredible. I first learned that and I heard that from Leon G. Barnes, is where
Hmm.
he said obviously go deeper than go wider, and I thought that was pretty cool. Actually, I completely did the opposite. I did go wider, but
Yeah.
to show anybody about me today. But no, I love that, and because that's what I used to always say about because we're in Southern California. Yeah, you go definitely deeper in Southern California as well. Okay, so you got a team of 3 acquisition people. Are they belly to belly? Are they all over the phone sales? Are you guys all in office? I mean, what does that look like?
Yeah, we have an office here. We're definitely a belly to belly company in the Midwest. That's just kind of what people expect. Maybe there's a limiting belief in my mind about the phone sale thing, but that's how we've always closed our deals, and it's worked really well for us. But I'm sure other people are doing that extremely well on the phones.
At 150 closed deals a year, what does it look like your expectation for your acquisition managers? I mean, are you hoping to get do you have to get 2 deals a month? What does your close rate look like? I mean, what does that look like?
So I used to be a lone wolf in acquisitions. That's actually my love is going to these houses and meeting with the sellers and solving problems and inking up the deal. I just get a hit from that. So I've
Right.
actually had to gradually push myself out of that, and we've hired 3 guys now um, that I work with to try to bring them up and improve their skills. But one of our big
Mm,
things one of our big things right now is we go after niche lists, your pre-foreclosures,
okay.
your probates, and 2 of my guys they explicitly work on that. So they're door
Mm,
knocking, pre-foreclosures. They're cold calling these people, Facebook message, email, anything that you can imagine. We're contacting these
yeah.
people. So that's one of our biggest lead sources is the pre-foreclosures. So I have some KPIs for them that I want them to hit. Usually about 75 doors a week, 5
Wow.
appointments a week, and the goal for them is to hit 2 contracts a week each. Then I have another guy on my team. He's actually my in-house realtor, so he lists all of our houses that we buy and take down and put on the market. And then he networks with local wholesalers on the side, and we get a number of deals that way as well.
JVing with everybody.
Yep.
What does your training process look like when you have a new acquisition person come on board?
So I'm pretty hands-on. The process for us, we have Trainual, where I have a bunch of different training videos. They watch those, but that only gets you so much. You really need to get
Hmm.
out there and see it, feel it, smell it. So I'll go on appointments with guys, and the first several times, they'll watch me close the deal, and then we do a lot of role playing. I make them pretty uncomfortable at the office
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
really kind of play devil's advocate on some of it. And if they can deal with me um, doing all the role playing, they can deal with the seller. So it's really
Yeah.
just putting building blocks together over time. At first, they tend to struggle, but over time, they take the training wheels off and they just get better. So really, for us, it's just working with them directly for a long time. It's not just training for a week and then you're off to it. It's weekly
Yeah.
stuff. We just work at it. My motto is 1% better a day, and I try to get them to adopt the same motto.
No, I love that. And, I heard your presentation too on the pre-foreclosure stuff. So I know you're definitely a great acquisition person. So I can tell it might be hard to, let go of that because, obviously your first priority is impact and obviously making a difference in these people's lives. Now, that's why I want to really harp and really dig deep on this acquisition person by how are you able to, what are you doing to put in your, because I could talk about how we're doing ours, but what are you doing to make sure they have that same focus, make sure they have that same drive, they have that same coachability and culture to be able to do those same things? It's hard to find those people. I mean, I'm sure these people didn't just land on your lap.
No. So we from the very beginning in the hiring process, we make sure that we're in alignment on core values. We're Christian folks, so we want to hire other people with the same values that truly care about people. At the end of the day, we all want to sling deals and get contracts, but in the niche that we work, you really have to care about the other side and kind of remove your investor hat and put on your trusted advisor hat.
I love that.
And really be there and truly not even think about your own desires. You're just thinking, what does that person need? How can I help them bridge that gap? And that's what I breed into our guys, is that you're not there to make money. You're not there for any other reason than to solve problems and help the person on the other side. If you do that at a high level, the money will come. So that's just the culture that we've tried to create. But it's an ongoing process. I mean, we're humans.
Yep.
Sometimes you drift away from that, but that's kind of our North Star, I guess, is that's how we treat our people, our clients.
No, that's awesome. Are you still door knocking? Are you still going out there?
I go out there from time to time. Not as much anymore. I probably do it more now for content stuff than anything else. But I love the chase. I'll always love it and get out there from time to time.
For sure. Okay, Michael, let me ask you this. We talked about the pre-foreclosures, but I mean, what's your marketing look like currently to get you the best results?
So we have a team of virtual assistants currently, but their only job is to gather the data, make sure it's 100% accurate. Then they send it off into our CRM, and then we have different drip systems between, cold call and door knocking and Facebook messages, and just have auto tasks that tell our guys what to do. That way, each day they're not kind of wondering what they're supposed to do. They know exactly what they're going to do. So we're just very targeted in what we do. We've been working on those systems for a number of years now, and we have it pretty dialed in Salesforce. So that enables us to accomplish more than most people could probably.
Okay, so they're scraping the data, and so I mean, are you guys doing anything but door knocking?
Oh yeah. We're on TV. We do direct mail. We do all the normal stuff. So we get a lot of deals from those as well. But my primary focus is the pre-foreclosures. It's just a passion of mine. I like helping those people out. So any of the deals from TV and direct mail are just cherries on top for me.
Well, you definitely changed people's lives with your presentation. I know a lot of people really hit those pre-foreclosures as well, including ourselves, actually. Do you guys have like a course? Do you guys have do you have a place where people can find out how you guys hit the pre-foreclosures?
So I'm gonna be opening up a community probably here in the next month or so.
Nice.
I've forgotten how hard it is to build a new business from the ground up. So it's taking a little bit longer than I would like, but we'll be opening that up in the next month, and I'll be teaching anything and everything about how to attack those, how to build a team, how to build a sales team that goes after those deals for you, just anything and everything you could think of in terms of niche lists. We'll be doing it, and we'll see what the community wants, but I'm going to be pouring a lot of myself into that in the next few years. So
that's awesome. Yeah, once you open that up, please go follow Michael and get into that. There's going to be a lot of value given there. Okay, let me ask you this. I mean, if anybody listening to this, you're thinking Michael's just killing it. He's crushing it. And there's nothing going on with Michael. He knows what he's doing. There's nothing wrong going on. So my question is, what is your number one struggle right now?
Number one struggle. probably balance between family and work. Both of my folks, they were very hard workers when I was a kid. So they were always at work, and I admired that, and I kind of adopted that into, myself. So I could work 24 hours a day, but I have a wife and I have two kids, and being able to turn that off at home is a challenge. And I've actually
Yeah.
had to consciously do certain things, like such as lately I'd missed a lot of dinners at home, and it's like now the rule is you got to be home at 6. You put your phone away. They're basic things, but it's
Right.
easy when you get home and then a phone call comes in from direct mail, and it's like, well, do I want to be with my family right now, or do I want to take that $20,000 phone call? It's like I've really had to consciously make that decision. When I'm home, I'm home, and when I'm at
Right.
work, I'm at work. But that's a tough balance, and I think a lot of us, as entrepreneurs, we fight that, and it's a challenge. I can't turn my brain off. It works 24 hours a day. I don't know how yours works, but that's probably my biggest struggle, is just finding that balance to have a very healthy business life and very healthy personal life at the same time. So that's an active struggle.
No, I love it. No, and when I hear when I get asked, what is the number one strategy? What is the number one piece of advice that would help you to be successful, to build this business up the way it is? And I always say to be obsessed. You got to be obsessed. And if you don't obsess and you don't turn that off, and that's why you're doing so good, right? And you're doing such an incredible job, not just obviously by the business and the people that you're impacting, but also, your family. Now, obviously, it is going to take some learning experience and growing with that, like you said, 1% better. One thing, because so I do work with my wife. So me and my wife, it's not just my mind. So literally, we take that home and we're constantly talking about business,
That's
right?
cool.
And so one thing I do is lately, and I've been doing the same exact thing you've been doing, is I take my phone and I put on not disturb. That not disturb thing has been, and especially when you put a team in place, it's so much more easier, right? I'm sure that when you were doing all the acquisitions yourself, it wasn't as easy because you had to do it. You had to make that money. But it was nice when I got to put the acquisition people in place that made me kind of take a step back. And instead of being the person on the phone and locking up deals, I'm now able to coach, mentor them to do what we used to do, right? And so now when I go home, I put that not disturb on, man. And you know what's funny? My wife doesn't, so she answers the calls and says, "Hey, turn that phone off." But anyways, we'll get to that another time. That's my struggle. Telling my wife what to do, right? Okay, so let me ask you this: we had that kind of short dip. I don't know if you guys felt it in Kansas City. I know last time when I went to CG myself, a lot of people were struggling. This was the fourth quarter of last year. I know we're halfway through the year here, but what were your strategies to get through that quote unquote recession and coming out even better and stronger on the other side?
So just like a lot of us, we kind of got caught in the trap of relying on hedge funds. In the past, we'd had really, really good buyers, but we noticed the hedge funds were paying basically retail for beat up houses. So we went down that path. And when the recession little bump hit, we got caught with our hand in the cookie jar on a number of properties that they had committed to buy. They backed out because their cost of money was increasing, and we were just kind of stuck with a number of properties. Fortunately, we decided not to sell them, and we hung on to them for 4 or 5 months, and the market kind of settled some, and we were able to do okay on it. But we just got back to the basics. I would say the last couple of years we were kind of like the wild, wild west. It was just like any deal you can lock up, let's sling it, let's get it over to hedge fund, we'll figure it out. But when we had that dip, it was like there was a few months where it was pretty nerve
Oh
wracking.
yeah,
We didn't really know what was going to happen. Had no idea if the rates were going to keep going up. We were nervous, so we just got back to the basics: more wholesaling, more building the buyers list, more of the stuff you think about from the very beginning that we kind of got away
Yep.
from. So we just worked on the basics, and fortunately, the market's corrected, and there's very little inventory, so we're able to kind of go back to what we were doing. But we did improve a lot of those systems, improved our business some. So it was a good wake up call for us.
Oh, for sure. Are you going back to selling the hedge funds?
Their offers haven't been too great. We've sold a couple, But mostly our current disposition is we're taking the houses down, we're cleaning them out, we're putting them back on the MLS. That's been very effective for us.
Are you doing like any innovations?
I'm in Brewer's program. I haven't done any yet. I need to just get over that hump and take care of some. I know
Yeah,
our
Go
finance
on.
department would really appreciate that strategy.
I'm sure. No, that's something we're definitely working on. We were definitely on the flat fee service for a while, and now we're going directly to real estate agents. So that's already starting to work out really well for us. That's a whole different cool little strategy. Is that what Brewer teaches? How does he teach you?
Yeah, he teaches the novations where, basically someone agrees to 100,000 for their part. You can sign a POA and list it on the MLS for 130, let's say, and you net 120 and you collect the difference. So you get to make money without owning the property, which is a pretty cool thing.
Gotcha.
But I just need to get over that headspace on that one. I had the same problem when I learned Subject 2 3 years ago. Like, there's no way someone's going to let me assume their loan. There's zero chance. But then you got one done. It's like, wow, that really wasn't that hard. And we've done tons of those. It's kind of the same with this. Just need to go do one, and then we'll be off to the races.
I'm sure you are. You're taking them down, and are you holding a lot of them?
We only have probably around 30 rentals right now. But
in
most
Kansas
of
City?
them, we'll take them down. We'll sell them on the MLS. All of our rentals usually are purchased creatively. So we're doing a lot of that.
And all in your backyard?
Yeah, they're all in Kansas
Very
City.
cool. Very cool. All right, Michael, what is your picture perfect business model and team look like here in the future?
I always want to be lean and mean. I know there's a lot of guys that want, 20, 30, 40 person team. I could see myself having about a 10-person team. We're very, very good at acquisitions, and we're really good at selling the properties as well. I just don't want a big operation. I want to be lean. In the past, we've been 70, 80% profitable. So I love the feeling that you just don't have big overhead, but you have the ability to buy really deep and, have big profits. So that's always been our focus, is to just be very lean, very simple, not too many moving parts. So I don't see myself changing on that in the future. I think that's probably the best model. I know there's a lot of guys out there at CG that, they talk about massive revenues and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, they're not bringing home much money. And it's like, well, I'm making more money myself with 7 people than you are with 50. So I like my situation. Right. So I think that's kind of where we'll stay. So I don't know if that
kind of goes into my next. No, that does. That goes into my next question, though. So we met in CG Select. What you said before we got onto the show, you're in CG Premier now, and you were about to kind of mention the difference. What is the difference? I mean, you don't have to go too crazy, but what was the difference when you first started getting? Because you're mentioning about these people that are just doing crazy amounts of revenue, crazy amount of gross revenue, crazy amount of high overhead, big teams. I mean, what was it like stepping in a room like that?
The difference in the room is that these guys are just so much more mature in their business. I would say Select, it's kind of a younger demographic, 20s and 30s guys and gals. But this room, they're a little bit more seasoned. They've got their KPIs dialed in. Their dashboards are insane on their CRMs. They've just taken that next step in data, in team growth, in leadership. I mean, they're just really focusing on improving the business as opposed to let's go chase deals. They've got real businesses that are sustainable to where they could go away on a vacation for 30 days and not check in, and the business is going to run fine. Whereas a lot of people in Select, I don't think that they could say that probably. But it's super interesting. I would just say, I wouldn't say the intelligence level is that much better. It's just they're further along. So there's a lot of wisdom in the room, which was neat to see.
And that's kind of what I see, and that's what I've heard. Well, obviously, that's what Leon always says, right? It's just there's differences in time there. And you said like the maturity, and because to get into that room, obviously you got to be making a certain amount of revenue. And like I said, that's one of the, by the end of this year, we want to apply to be in Premier as well. But are you seeing being in? Because one thing I've noticed when I was talking to a lot of guys in Select and amazing guys in there was the fact that they don't want the big team, right? Not saying that all of them don't, but there was a handful of them that was like, I just don't want the big team. I want to stay lean, mean, like you said, and just kind of network with some guys here, do a couple deals. But then you got Premier where they do. A lot of people do want the big teams.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go on.
Yeah, there's some guys there that are just huge. I mean, they're doing 1,000+ deals a year. They got 50, 100 employees. But you got smaller shops too, kind of like ours, to where they're just dialed in. I mean, they've got a really, really good business. And I think that's what everyone in Select should aspire to. Just figure out, what do you really want? Do you want the big team? Do you want the small team? There's no right or wrong answer. For me, it's just I really enjoy the small team that is very efficient and has low overhead, and that lets me sleep at night knowing I don't have to do that many deals a month to stay profitable.
Here's a fun question. What, in your opinion, is a big team?
Obviously that's kind of industry specific, but if we're just talking about
for sure,
real estate,
yeah, the investing side, REI.
To me, being that I have a 7-person team, anything north of 20 seems pretty big. But there are some guys that have some really big companies. So perhaps I just haven't witnessed those companies yet. But to me, that seems to double, almost triple my people seems pretty overwhelming. How many people are in yours?
We're about the same. We got three acquisitions, just like yourself. We have 2 dispositions. We have a TC, kind of like the same thing. We love her. As a matter of fact, she just locked up a contract this morning, so she's gonna get a little get a little commission on that. And then it's me and my wife and I think we have like 3 virtual people, an administrative assistant, a TC assistant, and a dispo assistant. And matter of fact,
we do have 3 VAs as well. So
so our team's looking pretty similar.
Yeah, very similar.
But we are on the road to build a big team. That is our ultimate goal. Matter of fact, I just I paid my recruiter this morning, and because we're going to be doing a bunch more interviews, I have a goal by the end of this year to have 6 acquisitions and 6 dispo, just to end the year. Making sure, because the beginning of this year was to create a good culture and help me be a better leader. That's why we talked earlier. That's why I hired Ren, just to help us to be that best leader we can be, to build that best culture I can be in. And I would say we definitely get our money worth out of Ren. He's really bringing that, because I know you asked that earlier, and it's incredible. The transformation. The things that he's taught us to be that best leader, to watch those certain numbers, to really track, like I wouldn't have known. So like you said, to bring in 2 contracts a week, right, to hit those requirements. So, and matter of fact, one thing that you might be doing this in your business as well. So he taught us the 15-day protocol, 30-day review, right? And me and my wife were knocking our 30-day reviews with our team today. And it's so cool to see the reset that you see in your team. You're able to pull your team aside, look at the numbers, see their personal goals, have a discussion with them. Instead of doing reviews every 6 months or even once a year, I've seen companies do, where you see things build up. But to have that every single month, 2 times a month, they love it. The A players love that accountability. Now, again, I say A players, and I've said this before, it takes 3 to 4 hires to find that one person that sticks. And we've been seeing that consistently. But the people that are in our company now are all people that have stuck, and we're just seeing them grow, and we're loving seeing it. And by changing us and by raising our standards and reading some of the books that we've read, and leadership has been. I got all this, like I just got done reading. So I read Multipliers this year. I read another one by John Maxwell. I think it was like the 13 Laws of Leadership, I think.
Right.
Reading, I'm pretty much done with Extreme Ownership. So I'm reading a lot of leadership books this year. I'm also finished. This is not a leadership book, but Your Business a Leaky Bucket. That one's tremendously on. So those have been some really good books because I haven't been in the business that long. We're going on to we've been in 3.5 years now. I was a fireman before this, so. But now I just want to have fun and lead people and to build that business, man.
Yeah, leadership is a different kind of beast that you never
really is,
never finish that task. I started that journey a couple of years ago, and man, I get convicted on a lot of stuff that I can improve on all the time. So it's a cool journey. I actually enjoyed to kind of tag on to your book list. It was, you remember Larry Yatch came into CG?
Yeah.
Were you there at that meeting? His book, he's a Navy SEAL, and his book on leadership was really good. I read that a few times and took some things. So I think that would be a good one for your audience to read as well.
I love it. Yeah, it's right there on the bookshelf. And you're right, whole leadership thing. And have you read Multipliers?
Yeah, I have. It's been a while.
Okay.
I could probably brush up on it.
Yeah, that one's a good one, man. Like I said, I even have stuff on my whiteboard. And like don't talk too much. Always have to make sure they come with a fix. Because we all saw those diminisher things in our behavior, and definitely working on those by reading that book. So it's really cool to see. And the cool thing is when the team sees that, when you're actually applying these things, when you're reading the books, when you're getting the coaching, and then your team goes, man, I see a huge difference in you and your leadership. That's when it's like really rewarding. What are you doing to grow your leadership in your leadership journey?
So I have conversations with different mentors that, they're way further down the journey than I am. But man, it's just a whole lot of humility. Like a lot of the time I'm experiencing something for the first time. It's like, I just try to be a humble leader. I don't act like I've been there, done that, and my way or the highway. I really want to encourage my people to push back and to hopefully build them into leaders themselves. I want them to be a master of their area. So I want my TC to be a master at TC. I want my acquisition people to surpass me. So that's just kind of what I try to encourage them to really push the envelope on what's possible in their position. Yeah, it's a never-ending journey in leadership. I get humbled a lot, and it's like, wow, I made some bad decisions, but you just keep going back and growing yourself. And over time, you look back, and it's like, wow, I've come a long way. And when I make mistakes, that enables me to give myself a little grace. And my team is 100% the same way. So
I love it, brother. All right, man. Where can we find you, listen to you, watch you, follow you on social media?
You can follow me Instagram, Michael_Franke. I'll be starting a YouTube channel here pretty soon. So follow me on Instagram, and I'll give some updates on that.
Awesome, brother. We can't wait to see your community come out. We know you're gonna give tremendous amounts of value. So again, thank you so much for coming on the show, and we'll see you next time at the Real Estate Block Podcast.